This is for the person who grew up feeling very out of place and different from the rest of the world. This is for the person who has been ashamed of their sensitivity and the depth of which they feel their emotions. This is for the person who has a belief in something bigger than themselves and know that they are meant to walk a different path than where they are now, but don't know where to start. This is for the person who knows they have beautiful, creative gifts, but doesn't know how to put them into the world, where to start, and where their place might be. Hi, I'm Shaki Bell. I am a multi-passionate artist, singer-songwriter, and I help spiritual creatives, artists, misfits embrace their authenticity, cultivate creative power, and feel more confident in who they are and what they are meant to align with. I wanted to create this video sort of like a debut of what I've been working on the past few months and how I want to start showing up online, like not only through my art, but through my practices as well, and what I've done thus far to help those around me. I feel like the story that I'm about to share may resonate with so many of you, and I am truly just here to reach those people and see if I can at least make 1 inch of an impact. Before I begin, I just launched my online community, Art and Alchemy. In this community, you will find other people who are walking the same path of you. Of course, you will find tools for both creativity and healing and how you can bring them together. You will find challenges that will help you get to know yourself more and where your place in the world is. You will find community, you will find discussions, and you will find everything that you have been waiting for. So be sure to check out my online community. When you're finished watching this video, I will link it in the description. But anyways, I'm so excited to get started on this video because I've never truly talked about how I got to where I am today. Of course, everybody has a different way of how they navigate the world and how they got to where they are today. And I really just hope that, again, I can reach those who resonate with my story and want guidance from someone that they see themselves in. I grew up in predominantly white Catholic private schools. That shaped my personality, the way I saw myself, and the way I saw the world for a good 19 years. There are many things that I have unlearned and I am still unlearning just through being a part of an institution that essentially I felt like didn't favor me. Being in these institutions, I lacked identity. The more that people placed their beliefs onto me, how I should dress, who I should pray to, who I should marry, and when, what I should and shouldn't practice, the more those ideas were placed on me, the more I lost a sense of self. When I graduated, it was a culture shock for me because I thought the world operated based off of the lens that I viewed it through because of what was placed on me. I always knew I was very different growing up, obviously not just because I looked different from everybody else, but I also just felt different. I didn't perform as well as my peers in school, and I always just convinced myself that maybe I'm just not smart. I'm not as smart as them. It's something that I just accepted. I had creative gifts and I had creative interests, but because of the societal expectations that were placed on me, even like from my family as well, I felt ashamed of pursuing those creative gifts and I kind of just pushed them aside. The turning point for me, I won't get super deep into this because, just a disclaimer, I respect all beliefs. I respect all religions, regardless of what I know, what I don't know, what I agree with, what I don't agree with. Just a disclaimer. The turning point for me, I was sitting in some sort of mass, Catholic mass. They brought in a relic. For those of you that don't know, a relic is basically an ancient sacred item that you give respect to in some way. And the relic was blood of one of the popes that existed many, many years ago. My school brought all of the students into this mass to go up to the relic, bow down to it, and ask something of it. I'll never forget this moment. In my head, I'm like, what is going on? This is so different. Like in my body, I felt like this doesn't feel right for me. I didn't get up. I didn't get up to pray to this or ask something of this relic. My religion teacher at the time goes, "You're not going to get up?" And I look at him and I go, "No, thanks." In that moment, I kind of realized, wow, I am not living for myself. I am allowing all of these people to place their values and beliefs onto me when I don't even feel like I don't believe these things. I don't believe them to be true. It doesn't feel right in my body. I don't want to practice this. I want to learn more about myself. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. I want to love being who I am. And I didn't feel any of those things because I was taught to be somebody based off of other people's opinions and traditions. So it was really a big turning point for me. This was my senior year of high school. And after that, I just started to reflect on where I am at mentally and emotionally and where I would like to be. After graduating high school, I was actually atheist for a little bit. I didn't really believe in anything, and I kind of held this resentment for certain people and beliefs. I just kind of went through this void of nothingness, not believing anything, not really feeling anything, and just kind of coasting through life. Around the time of COVID 2020, 2019, and in 2019 I would say as well, is when I started to research about spirituality, spiritual practices. My friend had a tarot deck. You know, when I first saw it, I was like, Catholicism and many other religions teach that tarot is a bad thing. So I kind of still had that in my heart of like what I was always taught about other spiritual practices. But after being open and learning more about it, I realized, wait, this is actually really cool, and I enjoy learning about this stuff. I continue doing that, and the more I studied spirituality, the more I learned more about myself. I learned about my shadows, I learned about my limiting beliefs, my insecurities. I learned about the interests, the things that I pushed away for so long because I worried about what other people might think if I started to do those things. I also learned that I am neurodivergent. I learned I have ADHD. I am a highly sensitive person. I am very introverted, and there are certain things I can and can't do because of how my internal world operates. I learned so much about myself, and it was very enlightening. As I continued to learn about myself and study spirituality, I rediscovered my love for art. And I say rediscovered because I always loved it growing up. I always loved singing and dancing. I would always edit videos. I had a little camera that my parents bought me growing up, and I would record and like with my little brother and do all these silly skits and stuff. I loved doing it when I was little, but I lost it. I lost it as I grew up, and I noticed how the world operated and what people were telling me is going to make me successful and what is not going to make me successful. So for years and years and years, I let go of it until a few years ago, I found that passion. I reignited that passion again. I started to play. I'm really happy I had these moments to myself to play without anybody looking, because I also feel like when you discover a creative passion, you may feel pressured to share it to the world because that's what people might say or also pressure you to do. But I allowed myself to just have fun for a couple years. I started to make music and write songs, and for a bit it was just kind of bringing up the things and the stories that weighed on my heart that I never really got to address or that I pushed away. So writing it and transmuting it into sound was very powerful for me. And it helps me heal. It helped me heal a lot of the wounds that I still had. There are so many songs I wrote about so many different topics, about heartbreak in all avenues, heartbreak from a God that I thought was supposed to be something else for me, and people who hurt me growing up, things from my childhood as well. And the more I wrote songs, the more I realized that I was wounded. And there's so many things that I am still working through. Being an artist and exploring art brought that to the surface for me. And that's when I realized that healing and spirituality and art, creativity are one and the same. For me in my life, they have never existed separately. They have fed each other like two sides of the same coin. The more I practiced my spirituality and learned about myself and my inner world, the deeper I and more vulnerable I became in my art. Now, of course, there were fears and doubts that came up before I started to share my art with the world, because I always knew it was something I wanted to do. But when I felt like I was ready, oh my gosh, it was just a rush of different emotions coming up. I realized the same emotions and the feelings and anxieties and the fears and the doubts that were coming up always existed. It was just the fact that now they are brought up to the surface in a way that I can't escape. Art has a way of bringing up the shadows that you might not have been aware of before. And that is exactly how I felt. I never really got rid of those fears. In fact, those fears still come up sometimes. But through that process of sharing myself, sharing my voice and my work, I learned that it's not about eliminating the fear. It's actually about working with it and doing things despite that it's there, you know? I didn't learn how to get rid of the fear. I just learned how to grab it by its hand and have it walk with me while I do those scary things, while I reach the people that I've always wanted to reach, while I do the work I've always wanted to do. You know, when you do things that are out of your comfort zone and also out of other people's comfort zone that not many have the capability or courage to do, it's inevitable to feel those negative feelings of doubt and fear. The purpose isn't to get rid of them, because that is still a part of you. That is a shadow that just needs to be brought to the light. And the way you bring it into the light is by taking it with you and doing the things anyway. So as I continued growing and healing, learning more about myself, stepping into the shadows, creating, making and releasing songs, I noticed that I started to become more confident. And this was a big thing for me, because I truly grew up really, for lack of better words, hating myself, hated my skin, hated my hair, my body, my face, how I showed up in the world, my personality, how shy I was, how and reserved I was, how introverted I was. Like, I was always comparing myself to others. The more I put myself out there and explored my inner world, I became more confident. I started to form this deep trust in myself. I started to trust a bigger path. I started to trust in something bigger than myself. And then I slowly started to realize that my beliefs of nothingness turned into the most beautiful relationship I have with the universe and the world around me, and myself, of course. My journey of discovering art and spirituality has just been so impactful. And that is why I'm sitting here today talking to you. If I didn't see the value of my work, I wouldn't be putting it out there. I truly believe that my voice and my art isn't for anyone. I want to continue building a community of people, because this is exactly what I needed when I was just starting out. I felt so lonely, and I felt like nobody could relate to me and how I felt and what I was going through. And the more I practiced my art and spirituality and creativity, the more I realized, wait, no, there are other people who are just like me and see the world the way that I do And it is so beautiful. And I want to connect with more of those people. And that is why I created Art and Alchemy. My goal for this community is to feel like home, a safe space, and for people to truly explore the parts of themselves that they've always ran away from. I want Art and Alchemy to bring out the beautifully sensitive creatives, bring them out of their hiding and into their authenticity. So if this sounds like a community that you would love to be a part of, I would love to see you there. And whenever you're ready, we'll be here to receive you with open hearts. Thank you so much for watching through this video. If it reached you, I would love to hear from you. Like and comment and tell me what part of the story you relate to and if I'll see you in the community. Thank you so, so much. I hope you have a beautiful day. Mwah. Bye.